At the turn of the millennium, there was no such thing as a smartwatch, at least not as we know them now. There were watches with special features, but they were usually limited to two functions: one special feature and telling the time. Usually they had a stopwatch or alarm function as well, but there was hardly anything smart about them. In fact, we called them by their special function: the GPS watch, the TV watch, the remote control watch, and the MP3 watch. I actually owned a Casio WMP-1 MP3 watch when they were new in 1999. I used it for a year or so before I lost a critical piece of it on the school bus one afternoon. This is not my old WMP-1, but it is indeed a new WMP-1. Mine came in a box rather than this blister packaging, but I'm not complaining. Loaded with 32 megabytes of memory, you could fit usually about half of your favorite album on it, and it was spectacular. I'm going to be opening this watch, connecting it to Frank the Pentium 3, and loading up some music and literally partying like it's 1999. Join me. Okay, I've just opened the back of the blister packaging, so let's go ahead and take a look inside. Inside the box, we have a USB AB cable, a wrist audio player software CD-ROM for Windows 98. Actually have a pretty hefty instruction manual with a bunch of little notes and little cards on the inside of it here. The first one being registration card. And then next up was some information about the software. And then it had these three little notes on the inside. And they were actually pretty interesting. The fact that I called out that this packaging was different than the one I had growing up, I think bears some indication that this might be a later revision, and it came with these notes. This first note was about the demo tune, which would be on the watch only until you connected it to the computer for the first time. I've actually got that demo tune, and I'll play it at the end of the video. So it came with some notes regarding connecting the watch to your computer. Another note. And a more generic little note about the 15 seconds a month in time that it loses. We've got this massive user guide. Huge. It's in 40 different languages. This is the English, 33 pages. So some cool troubleshooting. Adjusting playback volume. Connecting to a computer. Set this aside. Here it is on a nice stand even. Some earbuds that I'm sure are fantastic sounding, with this little piece that clips onto the side of the watch. This was that critical piece that I lost that rendered my watch useless years ago. The docking station. And the power adapter. And here it is, all out of the box and ready to go. Here's the wrist audio player disc. If anyone recalls using USB devices with Windows 9X, which includes the Windows ME installation on my Pentium 3, they'll also recall that the best practice was to install the software first. Hell, for many peripherals today, I'd still consider this best practice. This is the AutoRun menu that appears after inserting the disc. I'm going to select Install Wrist Audio Player. Pretty basic installer process for the era, though I must say it installed fast considering the computer it's running on is simply a Pentium 3 at 550 MHz with 256 megabytes of RAM. This segment, for instance, isn't sped up at all. Once the setup completed, I closed my Minidisc software and found 2 titles had been installed: WAP Dance Producer and WAP PC Linksoft. I decided that before running the applications, I should connect the dock that came with the watch to the PC. I've installed the dongle, as you can see here. It's got the USB cable going to the back of it, and it has a power adapter running to it, presumably to charge the watch. Upon connecting the dock to the PC, the Add New Hardware wizard appeared in order to inform me that Windows had found new hardware, the Casio USB watch dongle. Of course, I still had the disk in the drive, so I just pressed Next. The wizard found 3 drivers on the CD-ROM. I selected the first one in the list. Honestly, I was a bit hesitant to click on it because when there's multiple choices, selecting the wrong one can cause a lot of headaches trying to uninstall and reinstall the right one. Windows did seem to like my selection though, so I continued with the installation. After Windows finished installing the device driver, I thought this would be a good time to unwrap the watch from the plastic coating that it had called home for over 20 years and dock it to the Casio wrist audio player dongle. Get the plastic off there. We'll take off this screen covering. And we have a watch. There we go. Oh, and it actually came on. It was really exciting to me that the watch showed signs of life after I connected it to the dock. I decided that while it was charging, I would explore the software that I had installed earlier. I started with the PC Linksoft title. Just like the note in the box warned me about the demo tune, it was lost during this step as Linksoft told me to initialize the MMC card that is built into the watch. After it initialized the watch, I was presented with a blank canvas of sorts. 31,343 kilobytes to express my musical tastes with. At first, I was perplexed with the character box, as I didn't recall what it was used for. There were a lot of strange options available, like Worm and Waveman. I didn't have any MP3s on the Pentium 3, so I moved on to Dance Producer. Dance Producer is really interesting as it lets you make animations on a 42 pixel canvas. I assumed these would be for while music was playing, but I also remember the watch displaying the title of the track while playing songs and couldn't recall when this would ever be used. Regardless, I made a little animation that I called Happy Sad, and sure enough, Happy Sad showed up in the character box on the Linksoft software after I had saved it. Nice. I'm gonna save and exit. Oh, these are the characters. This is what the character thing was. Alright, so let's do Happy Sad. I'll make that one word just because. Save. And so now if I go into the Linksoft, Happy Sad. I attempted to just transfer some of the MP3s I already had on my main PC over to the Pentium 3 and use those to load on the watch. However, they were 320 kilobits, which is more than double the upper limit of what the watch will accept. The Linksoft software informed me that there was a problem in the comments section with the rest of the ID3 tag info. I found in the manual that 128 kbps is full tilt for this thing, so I was going to have to rip a CD, something I hadn't done without iTunes in a very, very long time. I found an old version of the freemium title Music Match Jukebox and installed it. While we wait for the install, here's a small fact about Music Match Jukebox. When Apple introduced the first iPod that was compatible with Windows in July of 2002, it was bundled with Music Match Jukebox to manage the user's music library and transfer music to the iPod. That arrangement lasted for a little over a year until October of 2003, when the first version of iTunes for Windows was introduced. Nothing like new software randomly hitting the floppy drive, as if it may find a music library on whatever disk may happen to be there. Looks like Music Match Jukebox 6 comes with a small demonstration tune of its own.
Please forgive me if I...
Whoa, okay, I don't need another copyright claim on one of my videos. I'm going to rip some music I own and have here on an audio CD. I've chosen A Grand Don't Come for Free by The Streets. The more appropriate Streets album would have been original pirate material, but I don't own a copy of that masterpiece on CD. Yet. Oh, perfect. You clicked on this video to experience Turn of the Millennium computing, and you just got your money's worth. I'm going to reboot this machine, and when it boots back up, I'll rip a few tracks off of this album. Music Match Jukebox is starting back up. I apologize for not having the capture view of the monitor this time around. I failed to press record after the reboot. Once I inserted the CD and pressed the record button to open the ripping window, Music Match did a brief test on my CD-ROM drive and then began ripping the 5 tracks from the album I had selected. I only selected 5 because I was trying to keep the number of tracks to a minimum since I was working with 32 megabytes of space. I set the quality to the maximum that the Casio WMP-1 would handle, 128 kbps. So I should be able to take this and drop it over. And unlike the other one, where that wasn't working, it's now doing it just fine. I can get all of them on there. I was worried about the 32 megs, but I've still got 6 megs left over, so I'm up to 5. Get 7 songs on here, maybe 8, maybe 8. Either way, now that it's there, we're going to do update. And it's loading. This is going to take some time. Yeah, transferring even a minuscule amount of music over USB 1.1 takes a few minutes, so I won't include the entire process. After the fact, however, we can see that all 5 songs are on the watch. I figured I'd include at least one decent capture shot of the software. Now that the songs are on the watch, I'm going to undock it from the dongle and set up the watch and then demonstrate the music capabilities. Alright, so now we've got the watch here, and let's go mode. There's the alarm, stopwatch. Hope the light's not too rough. And here we go. So it is currently 6:49. Set the date. I actually don't know what today's date is. Let's see, it is 21st. Monday. Alright, so we got that part right. Alright, so what happens if I just press play? Nothing. Mode. Don't need the alarm or the stopwatch. And I'm not setting the time. So maybe this is where our little clip here, where this comes into play. It goes on the side. All right. Now maybe. No. Stick the headphones in. There's 24-hour mode. Oh my goodness. So apparently holding down play and stop, this big button here, resets it completely. So we'll go back. All right. Let me, let's see. I actually had to look up quickly how to get the watch into MP3 mode. The bizarre press and hold play to reset sequence was really throwing me through loops. So, funny enough, this says to press and hold down the play and stop button for about 2 seconds to enter the player mode and start playback. I'll do this again, and hopefully it doesn't screw me again. Not liking that. It just resets it. You can see where it's trying to enter some kind of weird mode. Well, that is definitely odd. I'll have to look into this. Okay, so it is a full day later, and I have figured out what the issue is. I was right in the way that I was trying to get to play mode. By simply pressing and playing play, it's supposed to take you to MP3 mode. And you can see this just keeps resetting no matter what I'm doing. The reason I know this is the battery, there's two things. First of all, I found and dug out the one that I had in 1999. This is the one I grew up with. Long ago, had lost the headphone piece. And I put it on the new charger and let it charge. It didn't charge long, only charged for a couple of minutes. But we can see here. Press and hold it down. Same thing. So it is the battery. So this one, oh, this one's won't even let me do it now. It's now blinking battery. Here's the dock. I removed it from the Windows Millennium computer and put it here, put it in. It says PC, but it's not really on PC, and you can see that the light comes on. Then the light goes right back out. That's supposed to signify that the charging is completed. So now what they're going to say is PC. That's interesting. See, this one charges longer than the old one. And I've got my theories about how batteries work and why that would happen even though this one's all used, but it still doesn't charge long enough for it to actually do anything. They're saying PC, and I'm thinking it's because it's disconnected. When everything was connected over there, I could plug them in, turn them on, and actually press play, and it would start the MP3 player. And it would even scroll the names of the songs that I wrote and that I put on it. Well, now this one's staying on and charging. So I guess I'll give it a minute and check, but I don't have high hopes. So that didn't even take 30 seconds. As soon as I turned off the camera, the light went out. Yeah, they're still saying PC on them, and I'm assuming it needs to be hooked up to the computer. But when it is hooked up to the computer, you can actually go into MP3 mode. I'm going to eject this one, and we'll try going into MP3 mode again. And it just beeps and resets. So I need batteries. I actually took this one apart earlier, and I have determined the kind of battery that it is. It's an MR11 hyphen 2200, and they don't exist. There is an MR11 hyphen 2286, which went into Casio's GPS watch, but nothing for the MP3 watches, and that one's, the dimensions are too big. So, like I said, these will go into MP3 player mode when they're on the dock, but I want you to notice the cradle here. Let's see if I can make this. There we go. So notice when it's on the cradle, it's blocked off. In fact, that's how you have to put it on. You have to go at an angle, flip it in, and then slide it over. So the cradle is actually using the two clips on the side that you can see on this one. It's using these two clips on the side to push it. It's not using these 3 pins, but it is using the clips. Which means, even if I do make it work, you see how fast that went out, which means even if I do make it work while it's connected, then I'm never going to get the headphone jack on, which means I'm never going to be able to demonstrate how this plays, what it sounds like, etc. Even though it got relatively good reviews when it came out for its sound quality. So, nothing lasts forever, and in this case, not even 20 years. That's been it for this incredible waste of time.